Good morning, everybody. I want to thank everyone for coming at 9:30 on a Saturday, and I also want to welcome our speakers who agreed to come and engage with our audience. I want to thank the students of Manipal Academy of Higher Education for coming for the Legal Awareness Program, and also the non-teaching staff for coming for this program. Before we begin formally, I'd just like to introduce the Center for Women Studies and our association with National Commission for Women regarding the program. This is the first event of this year under the Center for Women Studies, and in association with National Commission for Women. This is the format. Essentially it's a legal awareness program. So essentially the focus would be on laws related to women, on different laws which our speakers would be talking about related to women. And I'll just briefly talk about the schedule. So first we would have all the 4 speakers talk about their respective areas. So with this note, I request my student Komal Arcot to kindly welcome the speakers and introduce the speakers to the audience. Thank you.
Good morning. So I'll just introduce the speakers for today. Srimati Kaveri did her graduation in law from Sri Nandimat Law College and her post-graduation in law from Karnataka University, Dharwad. She joined the judiciary in 2008 as a civil judge and JFMC. In 2015, she was promoted as senior civil judge, and since 2019, she's working as the member secretary of District Legal Services, Udupi. In addition to her work experience, she is also a member of several district committees such as Child Advisory Board, Sakhi Task Force, and Women in Child Development. We welcome Dr. Srimati Kaveri to MCPH Mahe.
Madam, please come to the dais.
Dr. Baliga Prashant did her graduation in BCom from Besant Women's College and earned an LLB from SDM Law College, Mangalore, under Mangalore University. She pursued LLM International Law and her PhD from University of Mysore. Dr. Prashant has 22 years of teaching experience and has presented and published over 12 research papers at national and international conferences. She served as member of BOE for LLB, LLM, and PG diploma in KSLU in different years. We welcome Dr. Baliga Prashant to MCPH Mahe. Dr. Nirmala graduated with an LLB from JSS College, Mysore. She obtained a master's degree in law from University of Mysore, specializing in constitutional law. She's presented scholarly papers on prevention of domestic abuse, child exploitation and human rights, rights of senior citizens, right to information, and many other important subjects in different universities. Presently, she is working as an assistant professor in Vaikunta Baliga College of Law, Udupi. Dr. Nirmala takes a lot of interest in training students in moot court competitions, curricular, co-curricular activities of the institution, and has been actively involved in legal aid and legal literacy programs for more than 15 years. We welcome Dr. Nirmala to MCPH Mahe. Finally, we have Ms. Vidya Bhatt, who did her LLB from Karnataka State Law University and passed the All India Bar Council exam. She has been a member of the Udupi Bar Council and practicing as an advocate for over 4 years. She's also been working with the Manipal Group for the last 13 years and has more than 6 years of experience in handling administration and HR. We welcome Ms. Vidya Bhatt to MCPH Mahe.
Thank you, Komal. With this, I request Srimati Kaveri to kindly begin the discussion. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Esteemed dignitaries on the dais, and of course, off the dais too. What I find here is 90% of them are students of higher education only. If anybody can tell me, it is 90% of the students gathering here are from the higher education, right? You saw the board, Legal Awareness Program. So when was it intimated to you that some legal awareness program on women issues are going to be held in this institute? Anyone, please. When was it intimated to you? 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. Okay. It's good that you remembered something 3 weeks ago and you are here today. Has anyone thought that why legal awareness for us? We are not law students. I'm not going to do any graduation or post-graduation in law. So why do I really need to attend any legal awareness program? Has this thought not crossed anybody's minds? No. Yes. Yes, no, I don't want I want both the answers, like either it has to be yes or it has to be no. Just not bothered, like some program is going on, we'll just go and sit and check out attendance certificate. It will have an additional merit in our higher studies. If that is it, then let me tell you one thing, that knowingly or unknowingly, we live and die within the framework of law. I'm not going to emphasize on any of the topics because we have experts here. So as a member secretary of District Legal Services Authority, my job is to spread legal awareness. All these days I was under the impression that only those people who do not know anything, who are uneducated, who are not so privileged, are in need of legal awareness programs. But it is not so. Because all of us, we live and die within the framework of law. Now, have you ever imagined a society without law and order? What would have happened? Chaos. For example, if there are no traffic rules, though there are, I don't know how many of us we follow the traffic rules, but still, there are traffic rules, isn't it? Yes or no? How many of you have vehicle here? 2-wheelers? 4-wheelers? My first question is, what's your age? What's your age to own and drive a vehicle? Above 18 years, right? And how many you have a license for it? Driving license? Insurance? See, all these things, isn't it? We buy a vehicle, we are governed by motor vehicle laws. Now let us start from the life cycle as to what my entire emphasis is, how do we live and die within the framework of law like? We are born like. So, do we have a choice that I'll be born as a boy or a girl? Do you have that choice? Or someone is born by a choice? No, isn't it? It is natural. If I go, all of your science students, like you might have known, it is all XX and XY chromosome combination which makes a boy or a girl. Right? So we don't have a choice there. But still, when a girl is born in a family, it may not be in this part of the society, but where, it is a hardcore patriarchal society, or where it is a male-dominant society, when a girl is born, she is regarded as a burden in the family. I would also mix a little bit of Kannada here because some housekeeping staff are also there. That's what I heard. ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅವಳೊಂದು ಹೊರೆ ಅಂತ ಕಾಣುವಂಥ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಮಾಜ. Girl is always regarded as a burden. But what happens is, because we are on the women issues, I'll be addressing also on those topics. But let us just not talk about boy and girl. Now, how many of you have seen your birth certificate? Birth certificate. How many of you have seen your birth certificate? ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜನನ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ಪತ್ರ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? Only few hands. Birth certificates. Okay, those who have seen it, those who have not seen your birth certificates, ಜನನ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ಪತ್ರ ನೋಡದೇ ಇದ್ದವರು. I feel like no, some hands are not raising for both, neither birth certificate nor not seen birth certificates. Go and see the entries in your birth certificate whether they are correct or wrong. Because if there are wrong entries in the birth certificate, you will have issues when you are going to get your passport or some other admission for higher studies. Isn't it? Now, how is that birth certificate issued? It is issued under a Birth and Death Registration Act. There is a law for it, for issuance of birth certificate. Kindly all of you, like, who have seen the birth certificate, go and check the entries, whether they are in the correct format or not. Many a times it so happens that when you are translating, from Kannada to English or from English to Kannada, if you have got a birth certificate, there will be some spelling mistakes in your names, surnames, or your father name for that matter. And then there is a variation of the names entered in the birth certificate and your SSLC marks card. You will definitely have problem in getting a passport, because it will be name as in SSLC certificate for jobs, but when the birth certificate is compared, the name is totally different. There are some spelling mistakes. So just go and check it out. Now when you are going to, after birth, let us go to the school admissions. So what school, like, when you go to a school, it is your parents who have to check out whether the particular school has a legal sanction or not. It is whether it is approved legally or not. Just a banner of some international title on the school is not going to give you any degree or anything. Because if the school is not approved by the proper authorities under the law, all the education, the certificate will not be of any use to you. So that is one thing. Now tomorrow, the same thing applies even to the colleges, especially the professional colleges. All the professional colleges have some sanctioned strength. They can't admit students beyond particular strength. And they have to be approved by the higher educational authorities. The UGC is there, and then you have medical authority and other science authorities are there. So if your school or college is not authorized by the appropriate government authorities, then you will be in trouble in getting a degree. Even if you are getting a degree, it will be a fake degree or it will not be a valid degree. Have you seen any of the job opportunities or any like post-graduation conditions? The student should have degree from a recognized university. These are all small words which we neglect, like we feel I am studying in some big institute and we take it for granted that it is a recognized university. Go and check it out in the list. Now it is available on the web. Yes, there are some courses also. Like it is like compulsorily if you are going for some higher education, the student should have, or the candidate should hold a degree from a recognized university. What is that recognized university? It is those universities which are to be recognized under the law for the time being in force. All these small things. And the next one is, like you may say, I don't want to study at all. I want to get married. I want to be a housekeeper. I want to be a homekeeper. I just want to get married. What is the valid age for marriage? For girls, it is 18 years. And for boys? Haven't the boys thought like why we should wait till 21 years and why it is only for 18 for girls? 21 is for boys. 21 ವರ್ಷ ಹುಡುಗರಿಗೆ 18 ವರ್ಷ ಅಲ್ಲ. There is no equality here. It is 18 years for girls and 21 years for boys, legal age for getting married. And what happens if a girl of 16 years and a boy of 17 years, or both girls and boys of 17 years get married? What it is called? It's a child marriage and it is a void marriage. Not only just child marriage, but it is a void marriage, which means VOID, not WIDE. Void is your marriage is not legal. Now, why is this so like? And what is the age for voting? 18. Is there any distinction between 18 for girls and 21 for boys or something? It's easy to run a country than getting married actually. Isn't it? Voting is 18 years for all. There is no educational qualification. No, I mean, nothing. It's a universal adult franchise in India. All those who are above 18 can vote. But to get married, boy has to be 21 years. I'm surprised why aren't the boys fighting for the thing ki let us also get married at 18 years. Why we have to wait till 21 years? Has anybody thought, or you're just like, it's okay, we'll wait till 21 years, jaldi kya hai? Okay, like one or the other day we have to get married, it's better late. The present generation is better late, like, or not even get married at all. Even that is okay. See, there is a scientific reason. The basic reason is the level of physical and mental maturity, both for that matter. Scientifically also, a girl like will be capable of getting married, biologically rather. A complete woman she turns at the age of 18, and boys take a little bit of time in getting matured. I'm not exaggerating things. Have you seen babies in your houses? How many of you have seen like your sisters or your nephews, nieces? Now, yeah, many of them. You know, there's a physical process in the growing of babies, girls and boys, both take different times. ಕತ್ ಹಿಡಿಯೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Like, you know, the stable neck, for a baby to get a stable neck. How much time a girl child takes to steady her neck? A girl child, a girl baby. Any idea, anybody here? 3 months minimum. And how much time boys take? Minimum 5, like they can't lift their head, you know, like on their own. Someone has to hold it like. ಕತ್ತಿಡಬೇಕು ಹುಡುಗರಿಗೆ 5 ತಿಂಗಳವರೆಗೂ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. And when does a child starts talking, like 2 words, 3 words, 4 words? Who starts speaking first, girls or boys? Universal answer, it is girls. 7th, 8th month, she'll start talking like double, what, like she'll ask, For boys, like he can't even lift his head, so talking is a different issue. It will take 1 year for a boy child to, you know, raise his neck and say, why, what, yake, antale. By the time he says, the girl is already saying 2-3 words and this time. Then what about walking, like standing on your feet? Who learns faster, girls or boys? Girls or boys? It is girls. 8-9 months they'll start standing and walking. Like for boy child, I think so it takes almost 1 year, 3 months. Minimum 1 year, 3 to 4 months to stand on their feet and start walking. By the time that girl will be running actually. If there are twins, like you'll find it in the house. Now you might be thinking why the nature has given such kind of adaptability. What is this called? We have heard like 8th, 9th, 10th, adaptability, ADAPT, adapt. What does it mean, adaptability? According to environment, a person is adjusting. Like for example, it is a frog, you know, it's the most adaptable creature. Like, I mean, it survives in water, it survives out of the water also. Now, why this kind of strong adaptability is given to the girls? Coming to the women issues again. We are in a 90%, 99% of the entire world population is a patriarchal society or a male dominant society. Fortunately, this is not so in Udupi, Dakshina Kannada, Uttara Kannada, Kerala, Assam and Manipur areas where you have matriarchal society. Here it is the woman who will get rights in the property as a son. If there is no girl child in the family, like they'll crave for a girl child so that the property will go to a girl child. But in patriarchal society, it is not so. And this, you know, craving for a girl child or a male child is a global issue. Or this gender issues, what we are talking about, or the inequality towards women, all these issues is not just constrained only to the Indian society, but it's a global issue. For example, if you take biggest of the countries, maybe it is England, USA, or the Germany, even Switzerland for that matter, hardly women had voting rights up till 1979. ವೋಟಿಂಗ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ವುಮೆನ್, ಮಹಿಳೆಯರಿಗೆ ವೋಟ್ ಹಾಕುವ ಹಕ್ಕು ಸ್ವಿಟ್ಜರ್ಲೆಂಡ್ನಲ್ಲಿ 1979ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ದು. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಲೇಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ಇಂಗ್ಲೆಂಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಸಮ್ವೇರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಇಯರ್ 1839, USA ವಾಸ್ 1894. Women did not have. This is the global issue which I am talking about. So what happens is like the gender inequality or the kind like, oh, it's a girl child, ayyo hennu huttittu anta hinge, that reaction is not just very typical to Indian society, but it is towards the entire world. It's a global issue. For example, in China, culturally they want a male higher. They want a male heir, like king has to give birth to a son so that the son will succeed to the king. So that is the kind of global problem, that being born as a girl will land you up in troubles or she is neglected, and that is the reason why we have this adaptability given to her by the nature. Now if you see in your families, or if you go and see in the orthodox families, girls are not given even education. Proper education is not given. Why like this mentality comes to them? Ultimately she has to get married, she will go to some other's house. Why we have to spend so much on her? Now this problem or this mentality is not very particular to India alone, but it's a global issue. Everywhere it is the same. Why? Because it is the woman who has always been a subject of object. That is it. You always objectify a woman like ಒಂದು ಅನುಭೋಗದ ವಸ್ತು. ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಅನುಭೋಗದ ವಸ್ತು, ಅಥವಾ ಅವಳನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಲೈಕ್ ಹೆಂಗೂ ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಹುಡ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರ ಮನೆಗೆ ಮದುವೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ವೈ ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಸೊ ಮಚ್ ಆನ್ ಹರ್? Now if as a parent, if I think this, and if I have a son, what kind of daughter-in-law I'll be getting? We don't think that, but we think only about our expenditures. Okay, like if I give the girl child education as equivalent to a son, ultimately she is going to get married and go to some other house, so it will be benefit to that house and not to this house. And if the same mentality is followed by every parent, so I will be expecting the same kind of daughter-in-law for my house also, isn't it? So this is a global issue, and not just it's relevant to time and place, but also like cultures. Hardly like any culture throughout the world we find where there are female heirs to a kingdom, except for Britain. Do we find somewhere queen succeeding? It is only the queen or the first girl child who will be succeeding to the kingdoms. So that is the reason why the craving for a male child in the entire society, it is there. So that's a global issue, not just being very particular to India. Now after this, like we might be thinking, we are here like so many girl children's, so many girls are there, we are doing our higher education, we are giving a lot of freedom and all those things, but all these things were not easy to be achieved. It were not so easy to be achieved because it is always the woman who is in a more vulnerable position in the society. Because it is the male who thinks कि I am the dominant, some kind of it may be anything. It may be a superiority complex, or it may be the right to property, or it may be the physique which he has. So there are so many reasons for this discrimination, so far as a girl child is concerned. And therefore, it was the United Nations which thought of a convention of elimination of all kinds of discrimination against women. It's called CEDAW, CEDAW. You can check it out on the web. Convention of on elimination of all kinds of discrimination against women. This convention was launched by the United Nations in the year 1979, way back in the year 1979. And gender bias is a human rights issue, basically. Gender bias is a human rights issue. So we have so many kinds of discriminations which are there in the when it comes to gender. As I said, the first one is the economic rights. Except for where there are matriarchal society, we don't have economic rights to the women, be it either in the employment or in the property rights. Like she has to fight for the property rights. Now that we have under the Hindu Succession Act, there was an amendment brought under section 6 that daughter will get an equal share. You will not believe, in India, prior to this amendment of 2005, if I am not wrong, 9 September 2005, the girl used to get only half share as compared to a son. And this is so far as a Hindu law is concerned. And if you go to the Muslim law or the Islamic law, the Shariat still says that the girl gets only half, daughter gets half of the son. The Shariat has its own inheritance. There is a calculator. They will take under certain conditions. So in that, under that condition, under the Shariat law, the girl still takes only the half of what her brother is taking. So far as Hindu law is concerned, there has been an amendment, and the similar you find even under the Christianity of Succession Act. Under Indian Succession Act, they have got equal shares. But things are different when it comes to this area of matriarchal society, like Aliya Santana, which we call. Aliya Santana ellirutta, alli hennu inda hennige property hogutta, and so it is divided equally again. But that's a different thing, like, because matriarchal society don't have these kind of gender issues which patriarchal society has faced. So therefore, these laws come, or laws are enacted to help people to achieve the concept of equality. Do you know what is the ratio of male and female in India? Latest census? Anupata anta heltevalla. Number of girls as compared to number of boys. Yes. For every 1000 male, there is only 914 number of girls. The number of girls overall in the country is much less. Why this is so? Again, it goes back, to the concept that a girl child is a burden to the family. And what happens was infanticide. Heard of it? Female infanticide. Bhruna hatya, Sri Bhruna hatya anta helteve now. Technologies have come which detect whether the child in the womb is a girl or boy. And especially in India, between 1980s up till 2000, there have been maximum number of female infanticide. Maximum number of female infanticide. It was so easy, just go to a doctor, get a scanning done. If it's a girl child, remove it. That's it. When the girl child doesn't come to life, problem is sorted out at the root itself. ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಹೊರೆ ಅದು ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಯಿಂದನೇ ತೆಗೆದುಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. So that is the reason why we find, like there is an imbalance of ratio between male and females. In not only just in the country, but I think so this is there everywhere in other countries also. So therefore, there is a law called the Prenatal Determination of Termination, PNDT Act ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ. So it is an offense if a doctor discloses about the sex of a child. It is an offense. I think so. First, if he does it, the doctor will be fined up till 40,000 and 6 months imprisonment. Second time, if he continues, it will be for 1 year imprisonment with 1 lakh rupees fine. It is an offense even to know the gender of a child. So that is the reason. I think there was one biggest issue which happened in India. Have you heard of the Nithari incident? Nithari incident. That behind a hospital there was a pit. ಒಂದು ತೊಟ್ಟೆ ಇತ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ ಹಿಂದೆ. And there were more than 500 infanticide, like fetus found, girl fetus found there. Nothing, they had just wrapped in plastic and thrown it in a pit. That was a big business for the doctors, detecting the child, sex of a child. Then it was only after that, the National Commission on Women and other women leaders came up and they made it a law, and now presently it is an offense. So if that is there, we have also issues in India wherein, because of this discrimination, girls are married at a very early age. At a very early age. If you go to North Karnataka or even North India for that matter, cradle marriages. ತೊಟ್ಲಲ್ಲೇ ಮದುವೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡೋದು, ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ಲಲ್ಲ ಅಂಥೇಳಿ. ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿ girl and boy, both of them, they lose life actually. They don't know, they lose their childhood, they lose their life. They don't know, they themselves don't know how to take care of themselves, and the girl child turns into, like we had incidents wherein there was a child marriage. The girl was only 14 years old and she was already pregnant. Now imagine like whether this girl could really bear the child, and the boy could really bear the responsibility of the family. So therefore, there is also a law of child prohibition. Child Marriage Prohibition Act is there. It prohibits marriage between, lesser than age for 18 years for girls and 21 years for boys, and whoever is involved in that marriage, including the person who has given the hall, including the person who has done the catering, including the person who has, given the chairs and other things. All the people will be, and also those ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಕ್ಕಿ ಕಾಳು ಹಾಕಿ ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅವರು ಸಹಿತ they will be held liable for being involved in a child marriage. So like why, but at the same time we should also think like why these things are happening. They just want to get the child, girl child, get rid of her. And another thing is, there are some concepts of called as property. Property maneinda hogbardu. So they'll just get married to her uncle's son or aunt's son, like which is permitted in the custom. So there are several reasons which we can't even think of. But what happens so far as a Muslim marriage is concerned? Under Muslim law, the age of marriage is soon after attaining puberty, or it is 15 years. This is so far as in Muslim law is concerned. Child Marriage Prohibition Act is concerned. The age prescribed is, as you said, it is 18 for girls and 21 for boys. Last 2-3 years ago, when I was working at Koppal as a civil judge, junior division, I had a typical, very particular case before me, wherein the guardian of a Muslim boy, age 16 years, filed a case, stating that the boy is being forced to marry another girl who is also underage, and it comes under prohibition of child marriage. So they sought for injunction before me. Injunction andre restraint order tara, court munde. Now the question, like we had to issue notice to the other party. So we issued notice to the other party, short dates were given. The girl side also came. And the argument of the counsel for the girl was that under Muslim law, it is permitted to get married at the age of 15 or at the age of attainment of puberty or maturity for both male and female. So this Child Marriage Prohibition Act doesn't apply. Now it was, though I was just an in charge court for that matter, I had to decide that injunction order. And what, like my reasoning of giving the judgment was, the Child Marriage Prohibition Act is a special law. And even scientifically, if you consider, the scientific age of getting married is 18 for girls and 21 for boys. Therefore, it is in the interest of physical and mental health of both the children, the marriage should be stopped. So this was my short reasoning for the temporary injunction order which they had sought for. The matter went to the Honorable High Court of Karnataka in an appeal. It went in an appeal, and I'm not just saying it for the sake of it, but the Honorable High Court of Karnataka upheld my order stating that the civil judge is right in deciding the case that marriage should be restrained, because firstly it is a special law, and secondly, in the interest, in the physical interest as well as the mental interest of children, child marriage is not permitted. So that was like just a brief thing which I am stating, but still such things happen. Finally, what happened? See, what is the story behind the case was, both boys and girls had, boy and girl, both age 15 and 14, like 16 and 15, something. They eloped. They were in love with each other. They ran away from the family. They not just got married, but also they had sexual intercourse. Now there is another law called as POCSO. Have you heard of it? Any of POCSO? Prevention of all kinds of sexual assault against children. Any kind of sexual abuse. It may be either intercourse or any kind of abuse against children is an offense. The girl was 15, the boy was 16, the boy was held liable for POCSO Act. He was a juvenile, so therefore he was governed under the Juvenile Act. That case, I don't know what happened, because after that I was transferred. See, there's an age, reason and season for everything. Now, what do we find, like, in the present scenario, like, you might be thinking we are already 18 plus and we can do whatever we want. But before that, there might be, your younger sisters or younger brothers who might get involved in such kind of things. So it is necessary that everyone should know some law to some point. POCSO is a very, very stringent law. It's like against child abuse. Any kind of abuse against children is heavily punishable. And if the offender is a juvenile, he'll be treated as a juvenile offender. He cannot escape any punishment for that matter. See, they had filed the suit with the intention to stop the marriage. They didn't want to get married. They wanted to stop this marriage, but it finally bounced back to them and he was held as a juvenile offender. If this is the situation, like why all things happen, because I am not aware of the law. Why? We are like so many, we have here resource persons who will be discussing on domestic violence, who will be discussing on other women issues. Many of the cases it so happens that we do not know what is happening with us is wrong. We do not know that. Especially in the cases of children, minor children. Because they don't differentiate, they don't know about the good touches and the bad touches. Who has to tell them? It is either the mother or the elder person in the family. And when that is not done, the children become subject to harassment, abuse, or even rape for that matter. And especially, you might have heard like in newspapers and all, even a 9-month-old baby, girl baby, like, she was raped. I mean, what, 9-month-old baby? Can you just imagine what kind of horrible situation we are in, like society? This, gender inequality or the gender exploitation as such, it has been through the ages. Just turn back the pages of history. If you just take India in particular, Vedic period, you will find, names like Sita, Ansuya, Gargi, and all those 5 Sati, Savitris, kind of a thing, like you will find those names. But at the same time, woman was, like there was slavery of women in India. Women were being sold, even now they are being sold. Sex trade. It was blatant earlier, now they do it, it's under the realm of a dark web actually. If you just go to the dark web, you will find all these sex trade, flesh trade rather. That was there even at those times. And if you just come to the Middle Ages, those ladies who fought for the independence of our country, can you name a couple of women warriors? Women warriors, whomever like. Rani Lakshmibai and Kitturani Channamma we also find, Ahalyabai Holkar and then Sarojini Naidu, all those women who fought for the freedom of the country, like we have list. But at the same time, parallelly, there was also a system called Sati system. Anyone knows like Sati system? Now everyone should know after Deepika. Which was a movie? Padmavat, like yes, isn't it? It was called as Johar when they did it in mass. Sati was like when the husband died, she had to jump in the fire, like she had to die along with the husband. So that system was still like very much prevalent in parts of Rajasthan and other very recently. And now, we have women in almost all the fields. Can you name any field of, be it either academy or anything else for that matter? Can you name any of the field where women are not working or they are not showing their marks? Army, Navy, Air Force, everywhere. They are there. They are there. Why you don't have army? Women are not allowed? BSF, okay. You want to go? Officer rank, okay. So who wants to go there as a BSF like? I'm talking about women. Now that is like different issue. That's a different issue. That's a different issue. It's called, it will go to sexual harassment at workplace. So we'll be coming to that. On the one hand, we talk about women empowerment, and then when a woman is there as a commander, the other people don't listen, then it's a sexual harassment case or a gender harassment case. That we can tackle with it under different this thing. My whole emphasis is now like
just one request to the audience. There's going to be a panel discussion. You can ask questions to the speakers.
it's okay. Like we can go for interaction, no issues.
They have the liberty.
Let them, if they have some doubts or something like, it will be better if we go, like it's a two-way, this thing, interaction kind of a discussion. Otherwise, one way, like it won't be, nothing will go into their heads also. Yeah, sure. Yes. Of course, I'm not going to take the whole day. Yes. Yes.
At the consent of the girl.
See, consent doesn't matter unless and until you are 18. As per law,
In the case of a girl.
In the case of a girl, especially in the case of a girl, consent, her maturity, her physical ability, nothing matters actually. See, how it is justified is, see, there is a protective discrimination under the Constitution. What happens is, there is a tendency that the girl is enticed easily. It is called as enticement and not a free consent. See, overall, we are checking about overall things. When it comes to individual cases, case by case, yes, it does differ. Case by case, it does differ because it so happens, see, that is the law. Now, why there is a law? Because there is a presumption that girls are susceptible to exploitation. That's a presumption. Yes. Yes. Yes, these things happen. What happens is a case is booked and even the girl has given a complaint before the police station. Because of that age factor, the boy is also booked. He might be a juvenile or under a POCSO Act for that matter. And later on it so happens that the girl turns hostile in the court while giving statement. Do you know what is turning hostile is? She'll say, I did not go with him at all. I don't know what the police have taken the statements. Such things happen. So in that case, what we'll have to do is we have no other go but to acquit the accused. But see, what we have to see, we are thinking only from the point of view of educated people. We are thinking only from the point of view of people who have money. But there is other major portion in the society wherein the girl and the boy, they both are totally ignorant of the law, their own rights and several other things. So that's a major portion of the society. This, like whatever we are here gathering, I call it as a creamy layer. Why creamy layer? Because most of us, we know what our rights are. But when you just go out there, maybe like you can just go and ask your maid in the house if she knows something about any right and act and all. Definitely she will not know. Why? Because their concentration or their entire life or day will be ki aaj ka din jaye to bas. They don't want anything. So that kind of attitude or mentality or awareness as such, they don't have. So the major portion doesn't have. So that is the reason why there is a presumption. But it's a rebuttable presumption in law. The presumption can be rebutted. So case to case it does differ, and there have been acquittals also on those cases. So it all depends on each case, facts and circumstances of each case. We don't consider it as a generalization. Generalizations are there. But when it comes to a particular case, only facts of that particular case will be taken into consideration and a decision accordingly, the law plus facts and circumstances will be given. So we were talking about these general things.
That was something that was extremely problematic. I think I also do acknowledge that all of us are in a position of privilege sitting here where we do have access to information on these issues. But when we are conveying this kind of information, we also need to be extremely careful with the kind of language we use. And even in terms, when you said pornography is illegal and everything, which is true, but you use the word sex work, and sex work is legal in India. There are certain rules within which it is, and I think that there are certain terms that cannot be loosely used.
No. See, there is a total misnomer. Sex work is not legal in India.
Sex work is legal, pimping is not legal.
No. It is not legal. Because there is an act called Immoral Trafficking Act. Check out on the web. There's a law called Immoral Trafficking Act. And sex work is not legal in India. It may be legal in Amsterdam, where they
But
get.
to be honest,
they give
I also
license.
would like to say that
the information I have says that sex work is
See, the
legal.
reason why
My
sex
mother
work,
works with sex workers, so I think I understand this. But also, I'm just saying in general that I'm just saying that I understand that we do live and die within the frameworks of law. However, we also need to understand that there are places where the law has these loopholes and that the law is not protecting all its citizens. Just by saying that sex work is not legal does not mean sex work will not take place. But if sex work is taking place in a way where the working conditions are safe and that there is consent between the two individuals and that it is like any other professional relationship, then if the law can provide for that, then that's amazing. Then they're actually not discriminating against people. And I think sex trafficking and all of those things are set apart. What if someone is doing it of their own volition? I think that
See, that's what I'm telling.
The point is there's no
Can you just imagine a society? Now, suppose like you make sex work legal. There comes an act. Just a minute. Sex work is not legal. I can very well say on it because there is a law called Immoral Trafficking Act.
As far as we know, only pimping and sex trafficking is illegal, but sex work is legal.
No. Please.
What should I say?
Ma'am,
Prostitution is legal in India though.
Prostitution is not legal in India.
It is legal. You can check the.
I request the audience to keep the questions for the panel discussion. We have to proceed with the next speaker. Okay, so with this, I thank Srimati Kaveri for her talk, and I invite the next speaker, Dr. Balika, for the next discussion. Thank you.
Good morning, one and all present here. Respected speakers on the dais, my dear students, ಹೌಸ್ಕೀಪಿಂಗ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ಸೋದರಿಯರೇ, ಇವತ್ತು ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕಾದ ವಿಷಯ ಡೊಮೆಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ವೈಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟ್. ಈ ಕಾನೂನಿನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೊದಲು, ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಲೆಜಿಸ್ಲೇಷನ್, we have to look into the background. So every one of us know that the laws are in the books. It's our responsibility to implement it. There are thousands of laws which are prevalent here in India, especially if you are only speaking about India, we have thousands of legislations. These legislations are either assented or framed under the Indian Constitution. And the Indian Constitution, the makers of the Constitution at the time of making of the Constitution looked into this society. It is not one region. It is not the cities which are already developed. It is not the villages which are totally in dark. It is not the small towns. It is not the big towns. It is not the mega cities. They have not differentiated at the time of making of the Constitution. They have looked into overall what is the situation that is prevalent in India. And as Madam was referring to, we have both patriarchal society as well as matriarchal society. But we can hardly find, only in small number, this matriarchal society. Majority are it's a patriarchal society. It is not matriarchal society. Women are not respected. Whatever the history that is there, whatever the religious beliefs we follow. Irrespective of that, if you practically look into the society, what you can find is that this is a patriarchal society. Now, looking into this society, the makers of the law, makers of the Constitution, Indian Constitution as a basic foundation law, which we have taken, we have accepted, we have consented, and we are going ahead with that. This law is made. Now, based on this legislation, main legislation, Constitution, Indian Constitution, many other legislations are made. Now, once again referring back to Madam, see, when we speak about male and female, we are in a matriarchal society. We agree that male and female and third gender also now recognized. Okay. Now, considering this, when you look at the Constitution of India, you can find there is a specific provision, particularly Article 14, which speaks about equality, equality before the law and equal protection by the law. Equality before the law and equal protection by the law. ಸಮಾನತೆ ಕಾನೂನಿನಿಂದ ಮತ್ತು ಕಾನೂನು ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನೂ ಸಮಾನವಾಗಿ ನೋಡುವಂಥ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಸಂರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಸಂವಿಧಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಲಾಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 14 ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಿಸ್. Now when it comes to Article 15 Clause 3 of the Indian Constitution, which speaks with regard to special provisions relating to women. See, the makers of the Constitution themselves they realized that it is not one day's affair. For more than 1 year, all of them sat. It is not one chairperson of the Constitution who made the Constitution. There were 52 members in the Constituent Assembly. They sat together, they discussed on the issue, they prepared a law which is required, which is feasible, which is the best for Indians by looking into different conditions, because we are not uniform. We are into diversity in all forms. We are into diversity in all forms. Language, literature, it may be with regard to culture, it may be with regard to everything. If you go even today from top to bottom, or bottom to top, or left to right, or right to left of India, you can find that varied variety of people you can find. But they found that throughout India, the situation is the same. It is not only for India. Please take care while making an analysis where the situation was not better throughout the world. That is why you can find CEDAW or any other international women-related conventions which were entered into. The situation of women were the same. Okay? When it comes to Article 15(3), where special provision for the protection of women and children have been made. So you can find in the fundamental rights part of the Constitution, which is considered to be the basic human rights, which has been adopted by the Constitution makers at the time of making of the Constitution, they realized that there is a need for special protection for women. That is why this particular provision is made. Other than this, under the directive principles of state policy, we can find other provisions also, which I am not referring here. But with that thinking, analysis, we have to go ahead for our discussion. Otherwise, our discussion might not be fruitful. Now, as Madam started with, from womb to tomb, women are discriminated. There is a violence against women. Now, she was referring to the female feticide, female infanticide. She was referring to adults, or maybe the violence which is taking place during adolescence. Once she is matured, maybe according to the age requirements or the other things, she was giving you the basic part of the law. Now, once it is done, now you are perfectly ready for marriage with all the consent of both the parties. Marriage has taken place, or maybe without the consent, or many other things, where marriage related issues, where you can find there are crimes or there are violences which are committed against women. Now, after marriage, to give birth to the child, once again, violence against women. Once again, she owns a property or she has got little money in her hand, in order to snatch that money, there is a violence against women. Even at the time of death, for the rituals or the requirements after the death, there is a violence against that part of the activity that need to be conducted for that dead body. Now, when you look into the Indian Constitution, where under Article 14, it specifically says that there is a equality. Equality. Men and women are equal. Do you find equality between men and women? ಕಾಣ್ತೀರಾ? ಹೆಂಗಸರು ಮತ್ತು ಗಂಡಸರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಮಾನರೇ, ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಮತ್ತು ಗಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಸಮಾನರೇ, ಸಮಾನತೆಯನ್ನು ನೀವು ಕಾಣ್ತೀರಾ? ನಿಜವಾಗಿ ಕಾಣ್ತೀರಾ? Do you really find that equality? The law says there is an assurance under the Constitution that all are equal. But whether you find any equality before men and women? Yes, if you can claim, yes, equality is there. To some extent, once again, to some extent, because various other aspects where money, influence and many other things. But the law says, say, what is the expectation? What is the idea? What should be the society? How our society should be? It is assured by the state. We have given to ourselves. The Constitution is we have given to ourselves. So we realized that we need it. But whether in fact it is taken by us, it is accepted and adopted by us. So where we can find there is a difference in the culture, ethos, the difference in systems, traditions which are prevalent throughout India. Now, however, in the past we are continuing with the same. Maybe to some extent, those who are educated, of course, education, that is why these legal awareness programs are. Those who are educated, aware of their rights, are raising their voices. Others are silent for a long period of time. See, even after how many years of Indian independence we are living here, and it is not the same audience or it is not the same education to the people who are living in whole of India, which is available. Maybe Manipal is a small town. Would you like to call it as a better than that? Yes? Globalized world. When you open your laptop or when you open your mobile, yes, all of us are in the globalized world. But based on your education and economic capacity, level of understanding has increased. We are in a better position to understand the things. We are in a small town here in Manipal, maybe in Mangalore, small town. If you go to the interior places, only in this area, I am not talking about northeast or any other states. I am talking about the same state and interior places of this particular state. If you go, you can find the people are living in the same condition. See, facilities provided by the government and availing those facilities are different, and the living condition of people is once again one more issue. It is not the same issue. Two different things. Okay, if you go to these interior places, suppose if you had any occasion to go to the rural places, please visit there and find what is the condition. Now, before I can enter into this particular legislation, I will give you a story. This is not of 100 years old story. This is a story which is going on, not at reported case. Because I know the people, they are communicating to me. The case is not yet reported, in the sense they have not gone to the police station. By now they should have gone. I have alerted them. Please go. You are supposed to go. You are supposed to take counseling. But they are not ready because of varied reasons. I'll give you the story. The man had, the boy we can say, before marriage, had lot of property. Because property is there and he is also a fitter. He knows mechanic. He is a mechanic. So he knows the work. Only 10th pass. Okay. Is married to a girl who is also from a village. Both of them are from village. 10 till 10th standard she has studied, plus 2 years teacher training, DEd, 1 year or 2 year, some teacher training program for elementary schools. Teacher training program she has participated, she has obtained a certificate for that. So she can be a teacher. She can enter into the profession. But before the completion of her course, she got married. By then she was 18. Of course, it was not a child marriage. They happily married to a family where everyone were there. Brothers to that boy, sisters to that boy, mother, everyone were there. Within no time, see, after the marriage, within no time, they spoiled everything. Their situation, economic condition was so deteriorated. It is not that poor background will, but the situation makes the person. Circumstances makes the person. Now, after the marriage, the boy lost everything, all the property. Lots of property they had, all the property. He came to zero. He was adventurous enough in starting, what is that? Some bike showroom. He established by taking some loan, and demonetization came. Within no time, he became once again zero minus, not zero. Until then, he was in zero. He could start with plus 1 paisa. But now he is into minus into lakhs. Okay. Now, along with that, many other problems arose and totally lost 0, 0, 0, 0. Any number of zeros you can add. Now, frustration. The boy was he was a king, like he had lot of land, great house, lost everything now, not with a single paisa in his hand. Now he starts blaming his wife. Because of you, because you came to my house, all these things happened. It is not because of him, he considers. It is because of you. You came to my house. See, we are talking about equality. After the marriage, boy never goes to his wife's house in exceptional circumstances for certain communities where they have the tradition. Small number, very small number. But otherwise, wife goes to the husband's house, home. So he starts blaming, blame game starts. Now, after this blame, anyhow, I'm married. Now, by this time, that particular woman got 2 children, one boy and a girl. Okay. They are not in a position to send the children to the school. There are increase in expenses, but no possibility of any income because he is into debt. And the people to whom he has to pay, every day they are torturing this man by saying that you repay. They don't look into what is your condition. The man is not bad. See, personally, the man is not bad. His economic condition is this. Personally, the girl is not bad. Her condition is this, circumstances. It may vary in different cases, but this is a case where because of this torture, suffering and all, he starts drinking alcohol, different varieties. We don't know. Who pays for it? Nobody knows. That is one wonder which I am finding in this world. If somebody asks for food, nobody gives. But if you want alcohol, It is given free of cost. Accepted fact, truth. Now every day this man comes drinking, and over a period of time only words, all shouting at the wife, slowly started beating. Last week, it went to the extent where, even prior to that, there was one incident where I have alerted, you have to lodge a complaint now, this is a high time. Okay. Then she went to her mother's house, she stayed there for some times, and then he realized, he went and he said, no, I will not do this. See, there are different situations. And this girl also, she has got love towards this man. For a long period of time, they lived together for 10, 12 years, they are living together as married couple. And she has got love towards this man and she don't want to complain. ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಡ, ಗಂಡನ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಂತ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು? ಗಂಡನ ಮೇಲೆ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಅವನನ್ನು ಪೊಲೀಸ್ನವರು ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ, ನನ್ನ ಗಂಡ ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆದರೆ ವಾಪಸ್ ಬಂದು ನನ್ನ ಜೀವನ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದಾಗ್ತದೆಯಾ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳು ಮತ್ತೆ ಉಳಿತದೆ. ಸೊ ಶಿ ನೆವರ್ ವಾಂಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಗಿವ್ ಎ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಹರ್ ಓನ್ ಹಸ್ಬೆಂಡ್. And this is the recent incident which took place in the last week, where her husband hit her head on the wall and the blood came out. Now she realized this is a alert, high time. Now I must take a decision. She gave a call to me by saying that this is what happened. I am going to my mother's house with my children. Now 2 children, they are going to school. Their school will be affected. That is also one botheration. Now what arrangements we can make? Now this situation I have given you to realize whether there is domestic violence which is still happening. Now we are thinking about many things in this world, the best of the best things in the world, and the situation may vary, may change at any moment. A person who is with the crores of money can become a beggar within no time if he is not in control of his accounts. He is not having any accounts of his income and expenses. And once he is ruined, maybe it need not be the case that he is ruined, so he is doing all these things. There might be societal other reasons where the wife is not giving birth to any child. I am capable of giving birth to a child, but wife is not capable of giving birth to a child. Or it may be that wife is not giving birth to a male child. There might be thousands of reasons why the men may go for these. On the other hand, I am not saying that there are no incidents of violence by women against the men. Now, the areas which I have discussed, maybe Madam has discussed, as well as the areas which I have started with, where we were talking about the violences against women which are not taking place outside the house. It is within the 4 walls. It is within the home. It is by the loved ones. It is not by third parties. So when it is within the home, it is by the loved ones, question arises, how to tackle this? ಹೇಗೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಸಂಭಾಳಿಸುವುದು? ಗಂಡನನ್ನು ಬಿಡುವುದಾ? ಗಂಡನ ಮೇಲೆ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಸುವುದಾ? ಏನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು? Until 2005, until the Domestic Violence Act 2005 came into effect, we had 2 provisions of Indian Penal Code which was a great help for women. One was the cases where women are harassed, or violence against women was done by any member of the family for dowry. Dowry was considered to be heinous crime. Of course, dowry was prevalent for a long period of time, welcomed. Even now it's prevalent. It is not totally discarded or thrown out from the society. It is still there, it is practiced. But even then, we have a separate legislation for that, Dowry Prohibition Act. But any form of violence, is a Dowry Prohibition Act where you have to prove, so there are so many other things. So, in case of dowry death, Section 304B of the IPC was used, and of course, when the death takes place, it is the father of that girl who is giving a complaint, or relatives of that girl who is giving complaint, and the result is that accused then becomes the person who has actually committed the crime, and the offender so will be punished. Punishment specified under 304B. Other cases where the wrongs are committed against women within the house, there is one more provision, that is with regard to 498A, cruelty against women. So any form of cruelty against women, it can be any form where the action can be taken against that person who is committing cruelty against that particular woman. So these are the only two provisions which we can find were giving remedy. But it was found that the number of, as a patriarchal society, we never felt that. I am not talking about me, myself. I am talking about the whole society. I am not only talking about this group. I am talking about the whole society, where in the whole society, where it is not realized that if at all, if father is beating a girl, when the wrong is committed by the boy, wrong is by the boy, maybe a younger brother, but the beating is for the sister by the father. We never thought that it is wrong, because girls are meant to be beaten. Accepted fact. Even today it is accepted fact by many of the families in many of the places. Or it may be with regard to giving in marriage, to decide as to whom I have to marry. Whom I have to marry. I should be in a position to decide as to whom I marry. Where decision is not taken by the girl, decision is taken by the parents. Even though the girl is not interested in marrying that particular boy, the cases of love and other things are different. Once again, of course, it comes within this. But even if it is not the case, the girl is studying and she wants to go for higher studies. No opportunity for higher studies because we have to spend for your marriage. So showcasing the wealth of the parents becomes a priority over the right of that particular girl child. So it's a kind of violence. Now what type of husband she gets, she has got no idea. She might not talk to that particular boy before marriage even once. Of course, the tradition which shows that even the face of the boy has not been seen by the girl, face of the girl has not been seen by the boys, and the marriage has taken place of cradle marriages and all. The situation was that. But we are now in globalized world. The whole globe is in our hand, or maybe we have become, the whole globe has become a village where we can interact from any corner of the world to any other corner of the world. But even in this situation, we are in the same status. We have not changed, where we can find that the decisions are not taken by the girls who are in a position to take. Because see, age of marriage is decided by saying that it is 18 years. With the reason, not only physical development, but also with regard to the maturity of the mind to take decision. Age of marriage of the boy also is decided based not only because of the physical development, but also the maturity of that particular boy and capability of maintaining the parties, each other. Now even then the condition is not better. So violence is taking place. Where? Within the home. Now after marriage, whatever husband says must be followed. After marriage, whatever husband says is to be followed. So he is the decision maker. Husband becomes the decision maker, and all decisions taken are imposed whether it is accepted or not. Now we can find we have become the champions of empowering women. Correct? We have become the champions of empowering women. But women are empowered to earn, but not to spend. If you have to spend, you have to take the permission of your husband. I don't know, because many of you might not be having the experience, but ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಂದೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡವರು ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ, ಅಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಸಹ ನಾವು ಮಹಿಳಾ ಸಬಲೀಕರಣದ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಒಂದು ಭಾಗವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ದುಡಿಬೇಕು, ನಾವು ಹಣ ಸಂಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ನಾವು ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಜೀವನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಂತಹ ಬಯಕೆಯಿಂದ ದುಡಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ದುಡಿತೇವೆ. ಬಂದ ಹಣವನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ? ನಮಗಾಗಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಹಣ ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ? ಇಡೀ ಹಣವನ್ನು ನಾವು ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಹಾಕುವಂಥದ್ದು ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಗೆ, ಕುಟುಂಬಕ್ಕೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಟುಂಬದವರು ಒಳ್ಳೆದಿರಬೇಕು, ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ದೈವಗಳು ಒಳ್ಳೆದಿರಬೇಕು, ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ದೇವರು ಒಳ್ಳೆದಿರಬೇಕು. ಗಂಡ ಸಂಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಲಗಾವಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿನಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಮೆಜಾರಿಟಿ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋದ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಹಣ, ಅವಳು 10,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಸಂಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಳಾದರೆ ಆ 10,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಸಹ ಖರ್ಚಾಗುವಂಥದ್ದು ಅವಳ ಸ್ವಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಅವಳು ಒಂದು ಸೀರೆ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಅವಳು ತುಂಬ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಹೇಗೆ ನಾನು ಒಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಹಣವನ್ನು ಒಟ್ಟುಗೂಡಿಸಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾನು ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಅದೇ ಗಂಡಸ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಿದ್ದಷ್ಟು ಸರಾಯಿ ಕುಡಿದು ಬರ್ಬೋದವ ಪ್ರತಿದಿನ. ನಂಗೆ ಅದು ಇಲ್ಲದಿದ್ದರೆ ಜೀವನ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಬೆಳೆಯುವಾಗ ಕಲ್ತದ್ದು ಚಟ ಅಷ್ಟು ಪಕ್ಕ ಬಿಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ನನಗೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಸಹ ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಳೆ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ, ಗಂಡನಿಗೆ ಕುಡಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ದುಡ್ಡು ಅವಳ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಅವಳ 10,000ದಲ್ಲಿ ಕುಡಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ಇಷ್ಟು ಹಣ ಕೊಡ್ತಾಳೆ. ಇಲ್ಲದ್ರೆ ಬಂದು ಗಲಾಟೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನಲ್ಲ, ಹಣ ಕೊಡು ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಸಿಗರೇಟ್ ಸೇದಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಸಿಗರೇಟ್, ಬೀಡಿಯ ಏನೋ, ಅವನಿಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಯಾವ ಚಟಗಳಿದೆ. ಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಹುಡುಗಿ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗಿ ಬರೋದು, ಅಳ್ತಾಳೆ, ಆದರೂ ಹೋಗಲಿ, ಅವನಾದರೂ ಸುಖದಲ್ಲಿರಲಿ, ನಾನು ಸುಖದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ. ಎಂಥ ಭಾವನೆಗಳು. ಸೊ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಎಂಪವರಿಂಗ್ ವಿಮೆನ್, ಬಟ್ ಟು ವಾಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್? How we are really empowering women, that also need to be looked into. That is why when we are looking into Domestic Violence Act, we have to realize that this is a kind of violence. ಇದು ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯ ವಾಯ್ಲೆನ್ಸೇ. ಇದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಸಂತೋಷ ಕೊಡುವಂಥದ್ದಲ್ಲ, ಕಿರುಕುಳ ಕೊಡುವಂಥದ್ದೇ. ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ನಾನು ದುಡಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದದ್ದೇ ತಪ್ಪಾ? ದುಡಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದದ್ದು ತಪ್ಪಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಧೈರ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ನೀವು ಎಜುಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ, ನೀವು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಏನು ಮಾಡೋದು ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಂಥ ಚಿಂತನೆ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇದೆ. ನೀವು ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರ ಹತ್ರ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ನನ್ನ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಥ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಇದೆ, ನಾನು ಹೇಗೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಂಡುಕೊಳ್ಬೋದು. ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನೂ ಕಾನೂನಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕಾನೂನಿನ ಚೌಕಟ್ಟಿನೊಳಗೆ ಪರಿಹಾರ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥದ್ದಲ್ಲ. ಕಾನೂನಿನಿಂದ ಹೊರಗೆ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ಪರಿಹಾರಗಳು ಇನ್ನೂ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಕಾನೂನು ಕೊನೆಯದಾಗಿ ಬರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಯಾವುದೂ ಪರಿಹಾರ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಸಾಧ್ಯನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅವನನ್ನು ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಸಿ 3 ವರ್ಷವ 6 ವರ್ಷವ. ಡೊಮೆಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ವೈಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳುವಂತಹ ಪರಿಹಾರ ಅಷ್ಟು. ಏನು ಪರಿಹಾರ ಬೇಕು ನಿಮಗೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಕೊಡುವ. ಆದರೆ ಗಂಡನನ್ನು ಒಳಗೆ ಹಾಕೋದು ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಬೇಡ. ಅಥವಾ ಅತ್ತೆ ಕಿರುಕುಳ ಕೊಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ಕಿರುಕುಳ ಡೊಮೆಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ವೈಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಡೊಮೆಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ವೈಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಾಗ 4 ವಿಧವಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. There are 4 categories of violences which are committed, specified under the Domestic Violence Act. Of course, it is narrated in detail as to what constitutes domestic violence. But if you are categorizing it, you can find that it is a physical violence. First part, physical violence, where the person beats you or hurts you severely, or maybe any form. But maybe there is a scar or there is no scar, but he physically commits a certain act against your body, an act committed against your body, for which we can say it is a violence. Second one is sexual. When it comes to sexual, where if it is not a consented one, ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಆಗಿದ್ದರೆ ಸಹ ಒಪ್ಪಿಗೆ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಗಂಡನ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಲೈಂಗಿಕ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಆದರೆ ಸಹ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಲ್ಲದಿದ್ದರೆ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ನಿಂದ ಯಾವ ಗಂಡ ಸಹ ಲೈಂಗಿಕ ಕ್ರಿಯೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡುವ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಕೆನ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಎನಿ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಹಸ್ಬೆಂಡ್. ಸೇ ನಮಗೆ ಕಾನೂನು ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಪೀನಲ್ ಕೋಡಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾವಿಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ ರೇಪ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ರೇಪ್ ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ರೇಪ್ನ ಒಳಗೆ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷುವಲ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಬೈ ದ ಮೆನ್ or husband is not considered specifically, by the husband is not recognized. So without wife's consent, the husband also cannot go for intercourse. So sexual. Second one is sexual. Third variety is psychological. So he blames you for everything. ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ನೋವು ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ, ನಿನ್ನ ತಾಯಿ ಹಾಗೆ, ನಿನ್ನ ಮನೆಯವರೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಗೆ, ನಿನ್ನ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಹಾಗೆ. ನಿನಗೆ ಐ ನೋ ಎ ವುಮನ್ ಹೂ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಲೆಕ್ಚರರ್, who is my friend, who was my hostel mate, where we find it very difficult to tackle such situations, where she was like, in our casual discussion, she was telling, my husband stands in front of, it was a love marriage, intercaste love marriage. She is from a higher caste and the man is from a lower caste, not with regard to the caste, but it's a love marriage with all degrees and all. They are PhD holders, both of them. The husband drinks and comes and shouts at this girl in front of the house. They have got a two girl child. Two of them are there. In front of my house, he shouts at me and uses all filthy language. ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೆಟ್ಟದಾಗಿ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಬೈಬಹುದು, ಅಷ್ಟು ಕೆಟ್ಟದಾಗಿ ನನಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಬಾಲಿಕ. ನಾನು ಏನು ಮಾಡಲಿ ನಂಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬಿಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಹಿಡಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲ. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಡೊಮೆಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ವೈಲೆನ್ಸ್. ಗಂಡನೇ ಮನೆ ಒಳಗೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅದು ಡೊಮೆಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ವೈಲೆನ್ಸ್, ಹೊರಗೆ ನಿಂತು ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ತದೆ, ಆದರೆ ಗಂಡ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ವಿಷಯ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಯಾಕೆ ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಯಾರು ಸುದ್ದಿಗೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಸೆಕ್ಷುವಲ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದ ಫೋರ್ತ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಕನಾಮಿಕ್. Fourth one recognized under the Domestic Violence Act is economic violence. That is, ನೀವು ಸಂಬಳ ದುಡಿತೀರಾ, ದುಡ್ದ ಹಣವನ್ನು ಮನೆ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಾ, ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಹಣ ಗಂಡನ ಅಕೌಂಟಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ ಅಥವಾ ಗಂಡ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾನೆ. ಒಂದು. ಎರಡನೇದು, ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಮದೇ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಮದೇ, ಯು ಆರ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಯುವರ್ ಓನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್, ಯು ಕೀಪ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಮನಿ ದೇರ್, ಬಟ್ ಯು ಗಿವ್ ಯುವರ್ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಟು ಯುವರ್ ಹಸ್ಬೆಂಡ್. And he is the only person who can make use of. Now, if you have got a trust, belief, and you have got good relationship, there is no problem. But if it is done forcefully by the husband, he dominates, he is a decision, I am the decision maker, this house must run, he is a good man. He is not drinking, he has got no other habits. He keeps money all perfect accounted. But he wants to see to it that what money must go to which account, for what purpose. He decides. You are earning and he is deciding. And it may be with regard to control. The whole concept of domestic violence runs around the power control mechanism. So in whatever forms a man can control you, either by lying. He may lie. He may ಎಲ್ಲ ಸುಳ್ಳು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಪಾಲಿಶ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ನಿಮಗೆ ಖುಷಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಓ ನನ್ನ ಗಂಡ ರಾಜ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಬಟ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ he is not doing he wants to fraud you. He is not actually speaking the truth. ಅಂಥದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡೋದು ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಕ್ರೈಮ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಲಿಸ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ 4 ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಡೊಮೆಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ವೈಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಡೊಮೆಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ವೈಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆದಾಗ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ನಿಜವಾಗಿ ಇದು ಗಂಡ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡೋದಾ ಅಥವಾ ನನಗೆ ಕಿರುಕುಳ ಕೊಡೋದಾ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ನೋಡಬೇಕು, ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರು ನೋಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವರು ಹೇಳುವ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನು ಸತ್ಯಾಸತ್ಯತೆಯನ್ನು ವಿಮರ್ಶೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಆ ವಿಮರ್ಶೆ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದನ್ನು ಕೂಲಂಕುಷವಾಗಿ ನೋಡೋದು, ಎಲರ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋದು. ಎಲ್ಲೋ ನಿಮಗೆ ಫೀಲ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಇವನ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾನೆ, ನನಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಲೆವೆಲಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಹೋಗುವಾಗ ನಾವು ಹೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಹಿ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಲೋವಿಂಗ್ ಮೀ ಟು ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಮೈ ಪಾಕೆಟ್ ಮನಿ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಹಿ ಈಸ್ cutting my pocket money. This time you don't take that much of pocket money. See, this particular law is not only applicable to husband and wife. Okay, people who are living within the house. Any person does that against any other woman, but this is applicable only against women. So the aggrieved person can only be women, not men. ಹೆಂಗಸರಿಗೆ ಕಿರುಕುಳ ಆದರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಈ ಕಾನೂನನ್ನು ಉಪಯೋಗ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಮತ್ತು even the people who are in living relationship, or maybe the people who are into dating, if you come across this type of situation, it not be the aggrieved one, maybe economic control, emotional control, or it may be tactful control, So there are different techniques by which men may try to control women. So in all forms, the Domestic Violence Act deals with, if you get this knowledge, you have got a solution also under this particular legislation. You need not directly go to police station, but 2014 onwards, 2014 judgment from the Rajasthan High Court, Jalandhar, one of the High Court, where the decision says that in cases of domestic violence, where we are finding that it is heinous, it is grieve. So it is better to file a complaint, lodge a complaint before the magistrate first, and then the counseling and other proceedings take place. But if you don't want to go to the police station first, you want to settle it, family level itself it should be settled, then the act also speaks with regard to protection officers. There will be NGOs in the nearby region. I have no idea in Manipal where exactly, who are the NGOs who are dealing with. In Vaikunta Baliga Law College, they have one center for protection officers. Protection officers, and these protection officers, if you consult with, they will take care of you. Where if you want separate residence will be provided, or in the same residence you want to stay and protection need to be given to you, protection will be given to you. It's a responsibility of the state. And if you are not in a position to earn because you are sent to your mother's house, place where you are earning, then in that case you are entitled to claim money also from your husband or the partner, any partner who assaults or who is into domestic violence. So aggrieved person has got many provisions which we cannot find in any other law. So separate residence, but the problem is that until 2015, many of the states, they have not established protection homes. If you want a separate resident, you cannot live in another's house, but if you are provided with a government residence where the provision is made, then it will be better. Now what I have seen in Mangalore is that we have women's police station, and women police station, by the side of it, once these domestic violence matters are reported to the women's police station, they will refer the matter to the counselor there. There is a counselor's small hut they have created, and the reference is made. And the protection homes, there is one White Dove Center for old age and orphans. They are sending it to them for overnight stay because there is no facility which is provided by the government there. So you can find that this arrangement has taken place recently. Last year this has taken place in 2019. So the legislation is 2005 and the implementation where you can find 2019 not yet. See, the city, small towns, it is not done. What about the rural areas, whether we can find the rescue, immediate rescue? Of course, there is a law which is effective. Law says that, okay, first level you can either go to the police station, they may refer you to the protection officers, or if you are hurt, grievous hurt, damage is there, then there are service providers, medical centers are referred. So you are given the treatment, you are given the counseling. So everything, all the facilities are provided under the Domestic Violence Act. But at the same time, you can find that effective implementation of the legislation has not yet taken place. One reason is that there is no awareness to the people. Public, every home is not alert. Every woman is not alert about their rights. Even if they are alert, they hesitate about the societal implications. So they don't come forward. The example which I have given, the second time such a grievous hurt, the girl's head is injured, now she realizes. Now once again there is a bargain. They are not going to the protection officer. There is a bargain by saying that you have to give it in writing that I will send my daughter for 2 months until the completion of the education. You are not supposed to enter the house. See, within the family only they are making some arrangement. Because somebody, they are consulting someone and taking the opinion. So, under that bond, but it is not the security under the government, safety and security of the family. Within the family, they want to set it right. Within 2 months, what will happen? We have to see. Now, if at all, if the person, if you give a complaint to the police, then to the magistrate the matter will go. Magistrate has got a discretion to decide the matter. Procedure that is followed under the CRPC, Criminal Procedure Code, need to be followed. But under this particular legislation, where flexibility is given to the magistrate, he can go beyond, because if he considers that any other prosecution matters, he has to go in a particular direction. This is a different matter, so he can directly refer the matter for mediation, because court attached mediation centers are there. So the matter, because it's a family matter can be settled even through that. So lot of liberty is given to the magistrate also, but at the same time you can find decisions which are given are in all the cases against the accused, where punishment is 3 years to 6 years in different cases, because it's circumstances and the matters, depending on that the decisions are given. So you can find that a foolproof package where women are really given with very good legislation, but the problem is that how far we are aware of and how far we are in a position to understand the hard realities and give effectiveness to this particular law. Okay, with this, if you have got queries, I think we have a session in the afternoon. We will go ahead in that session. Thank you very much.